The testimonies featured on this channel are presented as received, reflecting the personal experiences and perspectives of the individuals who have generously shared them with us. We encourage our viewers to approach these testimonies with compassion and understanding as they represent the personal journeys of those involved. Thank you for your understanding. In the quiet monastery nestled in the rolling hills of Tuscany, I knelt in prayer, my weathered hands clasped tightly before me. For 30 years, I had served the Lord faithfully, first as a missionary in South America, then as a seminary professor, and now as a humble monk devoted to contemplation and prayer. The evening prayers had concluded hours ago, but something kept me in the chapel, an inexplicable heaviness in my spirit that I couldn't shake. The world outside was changing rapidly, and even within these sacred walls, I felt the tremors of that change. Lord, I whispered in the stillness, guide your church through these troubled times. The faithful are divided, and I fear for what lies ahead. As the flickering candlelight cast dancing shadows across the ancient stone walls, I felt a sudden weakness overcome me. My vision blurred, and before I could steady myself, darkness enveloped me as I collapsed onto the cold chapel floor. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in a place of extraordinary light, not blinding, but penetrating, as though the very essence of truth had been distilled into a palpable radiance. And there, standing before me, was Jesus Christ himself, his face both gentle and resolute. "Brother Thomas," Jesus said, his voice resonant with authority and love, "you have prayed for understanding in these troubled times. Now I will show you what is to come." I fell to my knees, overcome by the presence of my Lord. "I am listening," I whispered. "My church stands at a crossroads," Jesus began, his eyes reflecting both sorrow and determination. "For 2,000 years, it has been the guardian of my teachings, the vessel through which my truth reaches the world. But now, forces from within and without seek to reshape it, to conform it to the pattern of this world. Images flooded my mind. Church leaders debating in grand halls, speaking of inclusion and compassion while steadily eroding the foundations of faith. I saw congregations divided, some clinging to traditional teachings while others embraced a more accommodating approach. "Lord," I asked, "how has this happened? How has your church come to this point?" "The world has always pulled at my church," Jesus replied, tempting it to accommodate, to compromise for the sake of acceptance. "But in recent times, this pull has grown stronger. Many leaders, with well-meaning hearts, have begun to confuse compassion with compromise. They believe they are extending my love when they are actually diluting my truth." I saw a vision of church leaders reinterpreting scripture to align with modern sensibilities, blessing relationships that traditional doctrine had deemed sinful, and abandoning practices that had defined the faith for centuries. "These changes," Jesus continued, "though dressed in the language of love and inclusion, are not of me. True love does not abandon truth, it upholds it even when difficult." I felt a deep ache in my heart. "What will become of your church, Lord? Will it be lost to these compromises?" "My church will endure," Jesus assured me, "but it must first pass through a great trial. The next leader will be crucial. He will either restore my church to its foundation or accelerate its alignment with the world." Jesus showed me a vision of two paths. On one stood a charismatic, popular cardinal who spoke eloquently of love and acceptance but whose teachings subtly undermined the church's traditional doctrines. On the other stood a humble, steadfast man whose unwavering commitment to orthodox teaching had made him unpopular in certain circles but whose faith remained uncompromised. "The faithful must choose wisely," Jesus said. "They must look beyond charm and popularity to discern who will truly protect the deposit of faith I have entrusted to my church." "How will they know, Lord?" I asked. "How will they recognize the shepherd who will lead them through this storm?" "He will be known by his fruits," Jesus replied. "He will not seek to please the world but to please me. He will stand firm on the unchanging truths of my word, even when pressured to bend. He will lead with both strength and compassion, understanding that true love never compromises truth." As the vision continued, I saw the faithful divided, confused about which path to follow. Some were drawn to the charismatic leader's promises of a more inclusive church, while others recognized the danger in compromising fundamental teachings. My people must pray, Jesus said, his voice filled with urgency. They must pray for discernment, for the wisdom to recognize the true shepherd when he comes. And they must stand firm in their faith even when the world mocks them for it. I watched as the vision showed the challenges that lay ahead, a church divided, faithful believers marginalized for holding to traditional teachings, and the constant pressure to conform to the world's standards. Lord, I asked, what can I do? How can I help guide the faithful through these troubled times? Share what you have seen, Jesus replied. Call my people to prayer, to vigilance, and to unwavering faith. The battle for my church is not fought with weapons of this world but with prayer, with faithfulness, and with an uncompromising commitment to truth. The vision began to fade, the light dimming around us. As I felt myself returning to consciousness, Jesus spoke once more. Remember, my faithful servant, the true church is not defined by numbers or popularity but by fidelity to my teachings. Pray for the right shepherd to lead my flock, one who will not compromise even when the entire world demands it. I awoke on the chapel floor, my fellow monks gathered anxiously around me. Though physically weak, my spirit burned with conviction and purpose. The vision had been no ordinary dream. It was a divine message, a call to prayer and action. In the days that followed, I shared my vision with my superior, then with visiting church officials. Some dismissed my account, but others recognized the ring of truth in my words. Gradually, my message spread through letters, conversations, and eventually through a small book that found its way into the hands of the faithful worldwide. As the years passed and the time for choosing a new leader approached, I remained steadfast in my mission, calling the faithful to prayer, to discernment, and to an unwavering commitment to the unchanging truths of the faith. The church indeed stood at a crossroads, but I now understood that its future lay not in the hands of any single leader but in the faithful response of believers everywhere, those who would stand firm in the truth, no matter the cost, and who would pray unceasingly for the right shepherd to guide Christ's flock through the gathering storm.